So it's been pretty rainy around here lately. It's a good opportunity to catch up on some maintenance on all these bikes. In my last tech video, I showed you guys my method of swapping out brake pads on a sport bike. Today I'm going to show you one of my methods of bleeding the lines and get rid of all that nasty fluid. You're going to need some brake fluid. This stuff is really good for high performance, but it's pretty expensive. As long as you pick something up that's cheaper and it's .4, you'll be alright. So there's several different methods to completing this job. I'll show you all of them. First one is the paper towel method. This method is great if you're 16, you just got your first bike, and you can barely afford to put gas in it, let alone bleed the brakes. I've been there. Method number 2 is the ghetto bleeder. You can finally afford to grab a drink while you're picking up some brake fluid, and when you're done with that drink, you can turn it into a bleeder bottle. Method number 3 is the vacuum bleeder. Easily one of my best investments. This thing makes brake bleeding easy, fast, and you won't need a friend's help to do it. You will need an air compressor. Anytime that you're ever removing or replacing a master cylinder or a caliper and you remove that banjo bolt, you should always replace the crush washers. Or any other time that you may not be getting pressure to the lines, replace those and you probably will. Most of the common sizes for cracking the bleeder nipple are usually 8mm, 10mm, and occasionally 11mm. So get those ready. You're going to remove the cap off the brake reservoir. This allows us to keep an eye on the fluid as it goes down. We can replenish it with some brand new stuff. You never want to let it go all the way down because you're just introducing air into the system. So this is why it's good to have a friend handy that can keep an eye on that for you and keep replenishing it so that it never goes all the way down. So you're going to want your friend or whoever's helping you up here putting pressure to the system, pumping the lever at least 5 times and holding it tight. When you crack that bleeder at the bottom, it's going to release all that pressure and push all that fluid through, and the lever is going to come all the way into the bar. Now you're going to want your friend to hold the lever until you close that bleeder so you don't reintroduce air into the line at the bottom. And once that bleeder is closed, you can release the lever and repeat the process. Now you're going to do that enough times that you push a lot of that nasty colored fluid out. Your lever doesn't feel so spongy and it doesn't come so close to the bar as easy. With this towel, what this is going to do is soak up all the fluid instead of just letting it shoot out and go everywhere. So once your buddy's up top pumping the lever 5 times, holding it tight, you're going to crack this open and hold this over so that it soaks it up. The lever's going to go to the bar, going to push all the fluid out and through, and before your buddy lets go of that lever, you got to close this back up so that you don't reintroduce air back into the line. So you're going to do that a bunch of times until you start seeing clear fluid. But keep in mind that every time you do that and the fluid comes out, it's draining up in the reservoir, so you got to get your buddy to make sure he keeps an eye on it so that it doesn't let air in through the top. So now the ghetto bleeder bottle is virtually the same method as the towel, except it's not going to get everywhere. You don't have to worry about that. And the bottle catches everything. Get the hose, fit it tight over that bleeder, and repeat your methods. Your buddy up top, pumping 5 times, holding tight. Crack this open, fluid's going to run through and into the bottle, it catches it, close it back up, repeat, same thing. Method number 3 is the awesome vacuum bleeder. It makes things super easy and you can bleed the whole system really fast with this thing. So same concept, you're going to put the hose on the bleeder nipple. You're not going to need a buddy up top. You're going to have to get up and check quite often to make sure you're not drawing too much fluid through and there's still some in the reservoir. So before you crack that bleeder open, pull this trigger and have it suck the fluid through. Crack that bleeder open, watch the fluid run through. Close it up before you let go of the trigger. Go up top, check the fluid levels, keep replenishing until you start getting clear fluid through. When you get to a point where it's open and you see solid fluid coming through the lines with no air bubbles and it's nice and clean, you know you're good to go. Close that up, then you can let it go. I bled using this method one time and I was having a little bit of a hard time getting pressure. So one of the tricks that I figured out was I would go up top, I would zip tie the lever all the way to the bar, pushes that piston in and lets any air that might be trapped behind it through. Repeat this process, vacuum it through and pulls all the air out. Once you close that up, you can take that zip tie off and you should have good pressure up top. Alright, so if you're the baller on a budget, I'm going to show you guys how to make your own brake bleed bottle with a few simple tools. Find yourself an empty bottle, something with a cap. Go to AutoZone, pick up some of this hose, something that has a hole that barely fits tightly around the bleeder nipple. If you have a drill, great. If you don't, find something sharp that you can poke a hole in the top of that bottle and bore the hole out a little bit. If you have a drill and some drill bits, it's the most ideal and quickest way to do this. Grab a drill bit that's not much smaller than the diameter of the hose itself. Drill a hole right through the top of the bottle. You can also use a pick to make the hole take a little longer, be a little harder, or a screwdriver. You're going to start to fish this hose through the hole. You want it to hold pretty tight. Once you get that through, just pull it through. Pull enough through until you get it long enough to reach the bottom of the bottle. That should be good. The next thing you're going to want to do is fill the bottle with a little bit of brake fluid so that the hose is submerged and no air wants to travel back up it. Once you figure out whatever length you want on your hose, you just cut it to size. Now you got yourself a little ghetto bleeder bottle. Alright, well that's it for today. Thanks for joining me in the garage. Hope you guys are leaving with some new skills. If you found this video to be useful and helpful to you guys, be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe for some more videos to come. See you guys.